Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Thanksgiving week edition of Bleav in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel. I'm Trevor Thompson. We're certainly thankful to have you along on this edition with Glover, Quinn, and I. As we break down the Lions, we'll have a look back first at their game of the Giants, then a look ahead at the Thanksgiving Day matchup against the Green Bay Packers. That is going to be a big one for sure. But before we get to all the football talk, let's talk a little Thanksgiving, Glover. What you got planned? You cooking? You good in the kitchen? What are your skills like around Thanksgiving time, the holiday time? Are you the guy? Are you that guy?
Nah, I'm not. I'm not that guy. I mean, I can cook. I can, hold my own for what I need to cook. I guess I got my dad meals that they like. But I also got a mom. I got 3 sisters, and so I'm just hosting for Thanksgiving. They can do all the cooking. I got brother-in-laws. They like to do the turkey stuff and this and that. So I let them handle all that. And I'm like the supervisor. I'm the host. I'm making sure everybody's comfortable, making sure everybody's taken care of in the kitchen. Everybody got what they need outside. The kids are entertained. So, it's a big project for me, so I don't get to cook, but I got to orchestrate. So that's kind of what I do.
Supervise. I like that. I like your role. I like that role. I'm going to surprise you with this one. I'm going to do the sweet potato pie, dude.
Oh,
I got that in my back pocket.
Ooh.
Didn't have that on your bingo card, did you?
Oh, I did not. I would.
No,
I
you
would
didn't.
not.
No, you didn't.
I would not have got that.
Certainly looking forward to that on Thanksgiving and looking forward to the football action as well. But before we get to what's coming up, let's look back. You and I were texting back and forth during that Giants game. 34-27 winners were the Lions in overtime. But along the way, it didn't look like it was going their way at all. And we were like, what is this when we were texting back and forth? What was that we saw up until the Giants decided they didn't want to win a football game?
I mean, that was just NFL football. At the end of the day, that's really what it is. Every team has talent, and the Giants came out and they played well. A couple of trick plays here there to start the game off, a couple of matchup problems we had with Wendell. And, you look around and the Giants defense was holding their own for a little while. But the thing about bad teams is they find a way to lose games, and good teams find a way to win. And the Lions made enough plays to get the win. Some wins are going to be ugly. But at least they're wins. We'd be a totally different tune if they lost that game and played that ugly. And so at the end of the day, it reminded me of my last year when I was in Houston. I was playing for the Texans, and it's so ironic because we had played the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? And say this week, and we went into overtime with the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that we should have handily beat. We went in overtime and we won off a walk-off touchdown, Andre Johnson. 4 days later, we're in Detroit playing the Thanksgiving game against the Lions, and went back into overtime with the Lions 4 days later. And we were able to get that win as well, because at that time the Lions, wasn't a very disciplined football team. And the same thing, they came out and jumped on us, and then they found a way to lose the game, and we found a way to win the game, right? And so now when I saw that game yesterday, I'm like, man, this kind of reminds me of that time, right? They're playing the team that they should have been beaten handily in the Giants, and they take them into overtime and get a win, take the whole time to do it. And then next thing you know, 4 days later, they got to scrap up again against a division opponent, a good football team in Green Bay Packers, and could potentially have another tough game. It's a lot of football in a short span of time, but good teams find a way to win those games. And so hopefully the Lions can, rest up, heal up, recover real quick, and be ready to come out on Thanksgiving Day with a lot of energy to get that win. But yesterday wasn't a pretty game, but they found a way to win.
And after the game, the Giants fire their defensive coordinator. They've blown a double-digit lead for the 5th time this season. He paid the price. But I got to ask you, I don't hang it on the D coordinator yesterday. Who made the bonehead decision not to kick a field goal on 4th down, give yourself a 6-point lead, and it would have turned out to have won the game for them? The defensive coordinator pays the price, but I do not understand that call. What did you think in the moment, and can you explain that decision at all in any way, shape, or form?
Well, I think, that has a lot to do with the Lions. I feel like you're in that situation, you're up 3, right? So if you kick a field goal, you're only up 6, so a touchdown still beats you, right?
But you've got to
And
get a
then
touchdown.
right, you got to get a touchdown, right? And a field goal. I mean, if we don't get the touchdown, then the field goal sends us into overtime. So at any way, a touchdown is going to beat us. Period. Field goal is going to send us into overtime. So I can see them saying the defense has been playing great all game for the most part. The Lions' offense has been struggling. We had some momentum at the time at the end of the game, but I mean, you're down at the inside the 5. You know, hey, can our defense, who's been playing well all game, hold them from going to score a touchdown, right? So if we score a touchdown, we're gonna put it out of reach in a sense, right? We score a touchdown, now it's a 10-point game. And if we don't, they just need a field goal to win it, which I feel like either way, the Lions probably would have, if they needed a touchdown, they would have tried to get that touchdown. You put more pressure on them, but I think they still could have got it. So I think they were just like, we're a bad team. We're on the road playing against a good team, and we're not playing for overtime or any of those stuff. We're going for the win. So we on the 2 or 3 yard line with a chance to ice the game, freaking go for it. I don't see the bad in it. You know, if you're a team and you're trying, you know, you got a push for something, you know, you may play it safe and try to get overtime and do this and that. But the Giants, you won 2 games, like, you know, you're not even supposed to be in that game in the first place. So why go up here to try to play for overtime? We don't want any more. Or we took the Lions to overtime. Like, nah, we're going for the juggler. We're at the 2 yard line. Let's see if we can score a touchdown and win it. And if we don't, they got to go, you know, at least 60 yards to get in field goal range. So I don't fault the call. You know, they just didn't get it. So in hindsight, it was a bad call. If they'd have got it, we'd have been like, what a genius call by these guys, you know?
Jake Bates, 59 yards, sends it into overtime. He deserves some flowers following that win. But look what I got on here. It's a technical.
Hey.
Yeah, buddy. Your man Barry Sanders getting it done. But you know who looked like a video game yesterday? It's Sunday. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Man,
insane, man. Insane. 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 he caught through the air. Unreal. Spectacular. Man. Electrifying. I'm going to break down some stats for you in a second, but I want your own take on it because this guy just keeps taking it to another level.
Bro, it's funny, right? Like, it's crazy how this stuff kind of works out. But I'm watching the game in the first half, right? And I look at the game and I'm just like, man, Jahmyr's swag ain't right now, because they had on the black uniforms and he had on the white cleats. And I was like, why would you have on white cleats, Jahmyr? Then I was like, oh, it's my cause, my cleats. So that might have been like the charitable cleats that he needed to wear. But it just didn't match his swag, man. He come out at the halftime. He got the black cleats on. Then it's 49-yard touchdown run. It's 8. Like, it was just it's a difference, you know. But he was electric, man. I mean, he was the only guy I felt like that was really trying to play offensively. I felt Jared Goff did not play a good game. Amon, you know, he having drops. I didn't think he played a great game. You know, he's working in the run game blocking, but Jahmyr was that guy that gave him that spark when they needed it. And, you know, I didn't hear a lot from J-Mo yesterday. Didn't hear a lot from David Montgomery yesterday. So J-Mo was the guy, and he carried the load for sure.
Listen to some of these numbers. 7th player to rush for 10-plus TDs in each of his first 3 seasons. You know who he joins in that category? I'm not going to make you guess. I'm simply going to tell you. Guys like Earl Campbell, Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Adrian Peterson. That's the company he's keeping through this part of his first 3 years in the league. He ran that 69-yard touchdown back at a speed of 22.7 miles per hour. That was the 4th fastest in the league by a ball carrier this year. He's got 3 of the top 4 speeds with the ball in his hand this season so far. This guy, despite what he's done, is, with the FanDuel odds, looking at them today, my friend, plus 3,300 for the Offensive Player of the Year odds so far. That is third best behind Jonathan Taylor, who's minus 125, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is minus 105. How does this guy go at plus 3,300? How is he so far behind these other guys and in third place, given the numbers I just broke down, the company he's keeping, and just how electrifying he is week after week? How?
Man, that got to just be the Detroit effect at the end of the day, because there's no way he should be that far behind. I mean, Smith and Jigba is having a good year, don't get me wrong, but what Jahmyr is doing is very, 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 very impressive. And this is the thing that people don't understand, right? This is what makes guys that we talk about so great. What Jahmyr is doing is excellent. What those guys that you called out on that list, they did that year in and year out for 8, 10 years, right? So just imagine the numbers that Jahmyr will actually put up if he can keep this pace up for the next
Insane.
6, 7, 8 years, right? You got to think he's going to slow down at some point, but still, he's still young. So if he can stay on this pace till, say, 30, he's going to have some insane numbers, and we'll be able to see firsthand a modern day Hall of Fame running back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're looking at.
Oh, you are.
Right.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
it's the longevity to be able to keep it up, right? Because if he don't be able to keep this up, we'll say, man, Jahmyr had 2 of the best seasons that we've seen, right? He's in the greats. But then something happened and that was it, right? So if he can keep this up, playing at close to this level for the next 5, 6 years, we're looking at one of the best running backs in the history of the game. That's incredible. That's incredible. And I honestly, I saw it in Jahmyr the first time I ever saw Jahmyr, and he was at Alabama. And I'm not an Alabama fan, but I'm an SEC fan. I watch football. So if Alabama is playing, I'm probably going to watch it because it's probably a good game, right? And I saw that kid Jahmyr playing for Alabama. I was like, oh, he nice. I kind of like his style. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was nice. And then the Lions drafted him. But at the time, we had DeAndre Swift, right? So I was like, hey, I wonder why they did this thing. DeAndre Swift is gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I get it, right? I get it, because he's that type of guy. He's a special talent. He's young. I'm happy that he's having fun. He seems like a good kid, humble kid, just loves playing the game. So I don't know why he's so far behind in the offensive MVP awards.
It's disrespectful. Plus 3,300.
Very disrespectful. Like, I should just go put 100 on it just to freaking take a chance.
Yeah, those are some good odds for you right now if you want to make a little loot. I'm not the betting sort, but I'll tell you, those who are might make some money on that one. Let's talk a little more of the FanDuel odds as we look ahead at this Thanksgiving Day game against the Green Bay Packers, who beat the Vikings handily on Sunday. The Lions are giving 2.5 at home, according to FanDuel, in this one. The over-under 49.5 coming in right now. Obviously, Green Bay is ahead of them in the standings right now. The Bears are leading the division. We'll talk a bit about that in a second, because the Lions are on the outside of the playoff picture coming into Thanksgiving Day, and the Bears are third ranked in the NFC. But we'll get to that in a second. I'm just looking at this game, and I'm wondering, okay, Green Bay's on top of them. Green Bay beat them already, yet the Lions are favored by 2.5. Get me to how we get there.
Well, the Lions are probably a better team. The Lions are playing at home. It's Thanksgiving. The Lions typically play well on Thanksgiving. That's how we got there. Now, if they're looking at the offense the last couple of weeks, I don't know how we got there. But Green Bay hasn't been that impressive either from offensive type of standpoint. So 49.5, I'm probably going to take the under on that.
The way they've been going, yeah.
Because the Lions offense hasn't been exploding like that on the good defenses. They've been, we put up what yesterday? 34 yesterday?
Yeah, in overtime, though. It took you
in overtime, right? So I don't see our offense plus their offense going, 25 points apiece. So I'm going to take the under on that. But this matchup scares me because the Packers, the way they can match up against the Detroit Lions, plays right into the Packers and not to Detroit Lions. And what I mean is they understand that the Lions game is a play action type of game based off of Jahmyr Gibbs and the running and Jared Goff's, capabilities in the drop back game, right? He's better in the play action game. So if they can lock in and stop the run and put the pressure on their corners to hold up against the wide receivers, and they can get Jahmyr stopped, now that puts us in a drop back passing game, and Micah Parsons coming off that edge with that type of speed, that type of pressure does not bode well for the Detroit Lions. So that's what scares me about that matchup. Can we get Jahmyr going to where it's not a drop back pass game? Can our defense hold up early in the game so we don't fall behind 14 points, 20 points in a game, like we did last week, right? We fell behind 14-0 real quick, right? Like we can't fall behind like that against a Green Bay Packer team, because then now it gets into drop back pass game. And I feel like Micah Parsons, even though he's maybe not be getting a bunch of sacks on it, but the pressure that he's going to put is going to force us. And, Jared Goff, I just don't feel like he's very comfortable when he got to just drop back 25, 30 times a game. I think he loves to be in the play action game. So we got to keep the run game going. So that's the thing that scares me about this team with this matchup, is because if they get Jahmyr stopped and they get to a drop back passing game, that feeds right into the Packers' hands.
I don't know how much of you've watched of the Packers. I'm just wondering, since we saw them in week 1 till now, how you've seen Micah Parsons integrate into their system and the impact that he's making. FanDuel has him right now at the second best odds for Defensive Player of the Year. And if you want to talk about a little more disrespect, although Hutch hasn't been blowing the doors off, he is at plus 6,000, sixth in the odds rankings right now for Defensive Player of the Year. But I'm just wondering, as far as Parsons goes, the impact that he's had and how you've seen him mesh with that team.
Well, I mean, I think the impact that he has is he makes those defensive backs a lot better, in the sense of when you don't have to cover that long, you can be more aggressive on intermediate routes that you see in front of you, because the ball has to come out. So when you're playing against a team that the quarterback isn't a scrambling type of quarterback, it's going to be more a pocket game. They could be way more aggressive on some of those routes. When you're playing against a quarterback that can scramble, now you feel a little differently, because Micah's going to get up the field and get some pressure, but then that's going to open up lanes for that quarterback to take off running. So it could go against them when they got a scrambling quarterback. But when they've been playing solid defense, and you look at their defensive back, I mean, they've been making a lot of plays on the football. And I feel like that's just a credit to Micah Parsons being out there. Those guys in the rush, the defensive line, they're rushing harder because they know they're going to get the single, because they're sliding their protection to Micah, or they're making sure that they block Micah. Well, that leaves me open for one-on-one matchups that you have to win. And so I think he definitely adds to what they're doing defensively. He's helped them. He plays with a lot of energy and effort. And then, like I say, anytime you can make those corners feel like they're Superman because now they don't have this or that, that's obviously a plus.
I wonder about the play calling, though. I wonder what the offense is going to look like this week, because since Dan Campbell took over game 1, it looked fantastic. It looks like he's searching for something ever since, though. You didn't really like the call. You'd rather have somebody else calling the plays, you said, and free him up to just focus on what he does. Your thoughts after watching him against the Giants and having another week under his belt, and then going into the biggest game of the year for him so far? You like it right now, what you're seeing, or you think he's still feeling it out? Or what are your thoughts as far as Dan Campbell calling these plays heading into week 13?
I still feel like, from a play calling standpoint, it's still a little iffy. But I just feel like Dan Campbell brings so much more to the game for the Detroit Lions that we're not seeing in the last couple of weeks. The energy that he brings on the sideline that we're just not seeing, just because you're having to focus on the play calling. You're having to stay dialed into the game and what's going on and what you need to do from an offensive play calling standpoint, right? We're not seeing him when a defense comes to the sideline. He's not back there, talking or hyping or doing whatever with the defense, because he got to be front and center getting the offense going. So I think with him being the head play caller, they just lose a little bit of the energy that we've seen that he brings to them. And that's been my biggest thing, from a play calling standpoint. I mean, it hasn't been great in a sense, but at the end of the day, it's NFL football. You call plays, players got to go out and execute it. I understand that. I just feel like he brings so much more to the table for the Lions that we're not seeing just because he has to call the plays.
You think it continues?
I kind of feel like through this stretch, it has to continue. I think the only way that it can stop is if the Lions win on Thursday. The Lions win on Thursday, then they get a 10. Well, they got two Thursdays back to back, I think, because I think they got Dallas the next week, right? I think they got 2 Thursdays back to back. So if they win Thanksgiving and then they beat Dallas and then they get that 10-day break, I think it could change.
So Packers and then the Cowboys.
Right. Yeah, I think they got 2.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 Thursdays back to back. I think if they beat the Packers and then they beat the Cowboys, I think it could change because now they'll be, 8 and something. They'll be better seated in the playoff run. And now I think those 10 days gives them time to let John get back in. Dan can kind of transition back. But they got to do it coming off wins so that it seems like that's just a choice that they made. Because if they do it coming off 2 losses, now it's kind of like, Dan, you got fired from play calling. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't get fired from play calling. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like if they come off 2 losses and now it's like, well, Dan's been struggling as a play caller. We're not gonna let him call the plays. You see what I'm saying? But if you do it off of wins, now it's like, okay, well, we've been playing well. Dan's been doing a good job, but we're ready to let Dan get back to being Dan, and John can kind of take back over, and it don't seem like a Dan failed as a play caller type of situation. So they got to win Thursday, and then they got to win the next Thursday, and then we might get back to John. But I just think Dan brings so much more to the table from an energy standpoint that I haven't felt these last couple of games.
Well, we should see it with the energy in Ford Field. Certainly, they'll get supplied some of the energy by the fan base, but it's a big game. And I want to ask you, I'm going to try and give you a little perspective here, but if you can just tell me how big this game is from a player's perspective. When you look at the NFC North right now, Green Bay, FanDuel odds to win the division are favored at plus 130. The Lions are plus 170, and the Bears, who I don't think are going to go away, and you talked about their schedule, they've got the easiest schedule going ahead, are plus 270 right now. They would host Green Bay if the playoffs were to start today, and the Lions would be on the outside looking in. So you can't afford to lose right now. Given where they stand in the division, given how things are setting up right now, as a player on short rest, how do you prepare for this game? How big is this game in your mind?
Well, I think the thing you got to think about in this game as a player that played in the Thanksgiving Day games, you just got to play with a bunch of pride. You got to have a bunch of pride in what you're doing. You got to have a bunch of pride in going out there and representing Detroit. It's a short rest. You don't have to travel. The other team has to travel. And I know it's a short travel for Green Bay, but they still got to travel. You don't have to travel. So you got to do everything that you can to mentally get locked in. You probably got family coming in town because it's Thanksgiving Day game. So you got distractions going on. Your wife, your girlfriend, somebody at the house got to take care of that because you got to be mentally locked in to what we're doing from a game plan standpoint. And, it's a division opponent, so it's a familiar opponent, right? So you got to be mentally locked in. You got to do your body justice and get it ready to go. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing you got to do is mentally prepare yourself to go and fight. That's what it's going to come down to. Are you going to mentally be tougher to bring more energy and more fight and go and win the game? That's what it comes down to, especially on a Thursday. Everybody's in the same situation. Like I say, you got a better situation because you don't have to travel, right? And it's Thanksgiving Day game. You got to come out and fight and win the game. That has to be the mentality. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You got to go out and you just got to win the game. It's not always going to be about the X's and O's. This right here, it's almost like a preseason game in a sense that they don't do a whole lot of different game planning. You don't have that much time, right? We got a short period of time. This is what we're going to do. We just got to go and beat the other team. Period. The end.
How much did you enjoy those Thanksgiving Day games when you were with the Lions, and how special were they from that standpoint of the energy provided and the holidays coming up and all that surrounds it?
I mean, it was cool for me because I'm a football fan. I mean, I've always been a football fan. So I grew up watching the Lions on Thanksgiving. So then to get to the point where I was playing for the Lions on Thanksgiving, that was always just cool to me, point blank, period, the end. And so being able to go out and play that game early in the morning, get the Thanksgiving Day game, get the games kicked off, and then be able to come home and relax and eat and enjoy your family and watch the other football games. I mean, that's what I loved, right? I'm a football family type of guy. So playing for the Lions on Thanksgiving was probably one of the highlights of my career. I love doing it. It brought back so many memories of me being a kid and watching Barry Sanders on Thanksgiving and going outside and wanting to play just like that for Thanksgiving, and all my cousins coming up and we're playing football outside. And that was just a dope, fun thing to do as a kid. And now I'm at the highest level getting to play on Thanksgiving Day on national TV, and my family get to sit around and watch, their little cousin or son or nephew play football on Thanksgiving. That was just a cool thing to me. So I didn't take that for granted. I didn't take it lightly, and I don't think they do it as well. That's why the Lions play so well on Thanksgiving.
And it's going to be the biggest game of the year to this point anyway. They only get bigger and bigger from here on out. Give me one more thought before we leave the folks about just how big this game is and what it's going to take for the Lions to get the dub.
Well, the Lions are going to have to come out, and they're going to have to get off to a faster start than they've been getting off in the last few games. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have to be special. But we got to expect they're going to try to take Jahmyr Gibbs out. If you go back to the first game of the season, they didn't let Jahmyr Gibbs get going. They got us in a backup, a drop back passing game. And Micah Parsons, although he didn't get but one sack, I think that game, he had a lot of pressure and a lot of tension got put on him. Now he's in better shape. He's been playing for a whole season. I'm sure he's going to come out and try to have a huge impact on this game. It's a national TV game. It's a Thanksgiving Day game. And he's not going to want anything to do other than get a couple sacks. He's been seeing Myles Garrett get all these sacks and this and that. He's gonna want to come out and show that he can cause havoc too. And so we're gonna have to get Jahmyr Gibbs going. We're gonna have to get David Montgomery going. We're gonna have to get J-Mo going. We got to figure out a way to get those guys going because we're losing. We lost Sam Laporta, so we don't have that tight end, production right now. So we got to do that. And then defensively, I mean, I don't even remember the last time we had a turnover. Well, I guess we called an interception last week.
Yeah, there was one interception on
called one interception, and that was a big play. So we see how interceptions can change the momentum of the game, and so the Lions got to focus on getting some turnovers. Aiden, he came through in that last play. Didn't really have much of an impact before that on the stat sheet. So we just got to get a little production out of the defensive line, get some pressure on Jordan Love. And secondary got to be opportunistic and try to make some plays, and I think they'll be fine. Should be a really good football game. The Lions got to do everything they can though to come out on top.
Yeah, I'll be looking for that defense to really step up and make an impact in this one because, like you said, we haven't seen a lot from Aiden Hutchinson so far this year, especially in the sack department. I'll be looking for him to get off, getting some guys healthy. It was good to see DJ Reed back last week. That was a big lift to the guys. Hopefully they'll carry that through on Thanksgiving, and we'll all enjoy a W along with our turkey and Trevor T's famous sweet potato pie. If you were closer, I'd have a piece.
I was about to say, I wish I could try that.
and a sip of whiskey. That'd be all right.
Oh,
sometime soon when you're back in the Motor City. Happy
sir.
Thanksgiving to Glover Quinn and his family. He's being a host this week for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the Lions and the Packers on Thursday afternoon. Enjoy the holiday season as it kicks off in earnest with this Thanksgiving Day game. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share, and be sure to enjoy. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. For Glover Quinn, I'm Trevor Thompson. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Bleav in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel.